and action. So today we are checking out the Guam Museum. If you're a local or just visiting, this is one of the places on Guam that you have to visit. Look how beautiful this museum is. So come with me as we take a tour of the Guam Museum. And this is Mr.
Jonathan Barnhart.
Jonathan Barnhart. What do you do here, sir?
I'm in the admissions lead here at the Guam Museum. Buenas, half a day. Welcome.
All right, awesome. So John is going to be taking us around. He's going to show us some stuff about the museum that I didn't even know about until today. What are the hours of the museum?
So the hours are Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 5 o'clock. Mondays we are closed. But when you do come into the museum, it's a lot of different things that you can do. We have a cafe and a gift shop, which we're about to see shortly. We also have 2 current galleries that are open, which we'll go ahead and talk about more inside.
Okay, let's go. Let's head inside. I first walked in here, I didn't realize that you guys had a coffee shop. I've been here before. Is this a new thing that opened, or has it always been here?
Well, it was here when we initially opened. So like I said, October 2016, the building itself was completed, but in November of that same year, we opened up to the public. Coffee shop right over here with the Guam gift shop. Okay. Both are very unique in that the cafe, gives you different foods, also different drinks if you want to kind of just lounge out. The gift shop, however, has a lot of the local artists and authors that we feature. Things like Mark Muir with his stained glass, structures or art pieces. We also have different books, so if you wanted to kind of learn more about Guam's culture and history, there's a variety of different ways you can do it here, in addition to our exhibits.
So they have not only exhibits here, they have food, local food?
Oh yes. Mr. Brandon right over here does a phenomenal job, advertising the cafe.
What is the number one thing that people order here when they come here?
Calamansi iced tea.
Calamansi ice. What is that?
It's like a lemon with our Shangri-La tea that we.
What do you suggest that people try, like local stuff? What would you?
We have our empanadas, which is a popular one on the island, as well as risquetti.
Oh yeah.
There's a challenge going around on that one.
What is that? What is that?
You eat like as much risquettis as you can, and then you try to swallow some. Get so caught in mouth and stuff.
This will make your mouth super dry. Just eating 3 of these, oh boy, easy. So later on today, we're gonna have a challenge with Jonathan. He's gonna try to eat 17 of them while talking to me. Let's see if that works out, Jonathan. But let me point out empanada if you haven't tried it. I know there's empanadas all over the world, but I have to say, because I've tried a lot, this is one of the best. So inside is rice with chicken and like usually a chicken stock, and then it's wrapped in this corn wrapper, which is flavored with an auto seed or a toti seed, and it's really woody and really tasty. I walked outside, I just saw something. I saw all these flags, and it's so crazy because they have every single village.
By the way, do you know how many villages of Guam there are?
That's a good question. Let the people know how many.
19 villages, all represented, 1 per village. Awesome. We're currently showcasing in the changing gallery right over here the Villages of Guam exhibit.
John, where's your village?
Where I am originally from is Agate.
He's from Agate. There you go. This is Agate.
Oh, by the way, do you know the only municipality that has 3 villages in one?
No, I do not. Where's that?
Mongmong Totumaiti.
Of course.
There you go.
Of course. I did
and
know.
They're all alphabetical order, so you can find your village flags when you do come down here as well. So right over here, let me actually take you to the admissions counter. Miss Jodi, one of many beautiful, amazing people that you will meet here at the museum.
Hi, Miss Jodi. How are you?
Buenas and half a day.
So what does it take to get into the museum?
Well, we do have our suggested admission fees here. $20 for general admission. We have also $15 for residents, $2 for students, that's including college students, as long as they can provide us with a valid college ID. We also have $10 for Manamco, senior citizens considered 55 years and above, and it's free for students 4 and below.
Awesome. All right, so we're here at the Changing Gallery.
And every 3 months, it always rotates to something completely new and fresh. So whenever you do come back, it's always engaging in a variety of different ways.
So what is it this month?
So this month, leading up until at least the early part of June, June 2nd, it will be celebrating Guam's villages.
Oh, okay.
So you get to learn more about all 19 villages in this one gallery.
This is pretty cool. You should come here right now because this is one of those times when they have an exhibit where you can learn about all the different villages or towns or little cities on the island of Guam.
Yeah, I mean, like, check this one out. There's a couple of things that actually I enjoy looking at. This one right over here. So this is the earliest, oldest bell that we have found, or that is currently on Guam.
Right.
It was made in 1774, so essentially that's older than the United States of America at this point.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the Agana Cathedral bell, 1774.
Wow.
Oh, by the way, you're in the village of Agana right now.
Yes. We are in the village, the capital city, Hagatnya.
Then you also find other villages, the southern villages of Guam. Things like, Umatic, as you can see right over here. Can you guess where you are at?
I can actually guess because you know why?
Why?
I'm from Umatic.
There you go, man. So this is from the point of view of?
From the Fort Siladot, right over here. So I grew up in Umatic. I live in Talafofu now, but my house, which is still here, my parents' house, is right over here. So, yes.
When I look at Central Guam, I also look at a lot of different things. For example, right over here, when you're looking at this particular gallery, you're also looking at this display right over here. Alright, so fun fact, did you know the first shots fired for America's side for World War I was actually fired on Guam?
I did not know that, man. That is news to me.
Yeah, so it was from the SMS Cormorant II, a German World War I ship.
Oh, yes, I know about the Cormorant.
There
yes,
you go. So it's one of the famous dive sites here on Guam. If you're looking at Upper Harbor, you have the SMS Cormorant II, and you also have the Tokamaru, a World War II Japanese ship. We're the only place in the world that has two separate World War era ships right alongside one another. But you're also looking at artifacts from the SMS Cormorant II. Looking at things that you would typically use, like a fork, but you're looking at it from the perspective of, like, the 1900s, early 1900s, with a German ship that is literally off of Upper Harbor. So again, it blows the mind when you're here at the museum because there's a lot of things that you might not have learned or known that opens your eyes up to the multiple possibilities that is Guam history. Alright, so as we're entering the second floor level, this is where the permanent gallery starts, but we'll go outside to the atrium first. However, here is Mr. Shawn to my right.
Hey, Shawn.
Hello, Hapade. Shawn, I work here. I'm a docent at the Guam Museum. I am the Japanese translator.
Japanese? Why would you need a Japanese translator?
Because we do often get a lot of Japanese coming in here, trying to learn about the Japanese culture and stuff like that.
Well, prove it to me. Say a sentence in Japanese and then translate it to English.
I'll do the most common. I often say this a lot. I'm going to say Guam Hakabutsukan ni yokoso, which also means welcome to the Guam Museum.
Wow, very good. So how does it work if we're going to be using Mr. Shawn here to do, we have a Japanese group or a tourist coming, how does it work? Do you schedule in advance or?
Well, you can do it in a variety of ways. If you're a part of a big group, you can kind of schedule that, in advance. But if you're here and you wanted to, kind of roam the galleries and you don't know, the language of, English, we have a QR code is one way. You can translate the gallery into 4 separate languages.
You take your phone, right? And
yeah,
boom.
utilize your phone. Basically English, Mandarin, Japanese, and Korean. Right. But if you wanted to be more specific and you are a Japanese tourist, then you can talk to Mr. Shawn over here and he can give you a phenomenal tour. This gentleman right over here is very knowledgeable as well. And he's also really great about giving his tours. Very fun.
Shawn.
Yes.
So what are the secrets that we need to know about?
Okay, so, alright, the secret is,
I'm just kidding. There's no secrets here.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yes, very straightforward. So if you need help, because you don't speak English, I don't know why you're watching this channel, but maybe you're watching it in captions.
Right.
Well, this gentleman can help you.
Definitely.
And look how friendly he is. He's awesome.
Thank you.
And later on, towards the end, we will reveal the secrets.
Yes, sir. So right outside here is called the atrium. Basically, it's a second floor level where you get to walk out and see both sides of the Guam Museum and both sides of Agana. Oh. Check this one out. This is actually really, really cool. Let's go. So, if you really enjoy looking at, churches, at least from a second floor perspective, you got an opportunity to see the Agana Cathedral to your left. But here's what's actually really cool about that. I'm going to give you two little fun facts. First, when you're looking at Aganya right over here, everyone knows that Aganya was a part of World War II, especially when the US came back to Guam to take it back from Japanese forces. Now, did you know that the cathedral right across the street, what it looks like today, was not how it looked like before World War II?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for 13 straight days before July 21st of 1944, U.S. forces bombed Guam for 13 days.
Okay.
So basically all of Aganya was completely leveled,
Whoa.
as well as different areas as well. But when you're looking at Aganya and you're looking left and right, just realize that what you're looking at was not what it looked like before World War II.
Okay.
Now here's another cool thing that not many people really do take into account. See that monument? Looks like a sword pointing to the sky.
Yeah, what is that? What is that?
That is the Guam Insular Guard Monument. Now it honors the Chamorros that did fight against Japanese forces when they entered Guam, because the US forces did not have an opportunity to. So when you're looking at that one, at least now you know, Guam Insular Guard Monument.
That's right. What's back there? I see some buildings back there.
Yes, sir. So that in the back right over there is Plaza de España, and you get to look at things like the Chocolate House,
Right.
the Azotea, and what you're looking at currently right now is getting ready for the Guam Micronesian Island Fair right across the street.
So what's the significance of the Plaza de España?
Well, for Spanish times, this is actually where the governor's, or actually post-Spanish times as well, is where the governor's palace was located. So, you know, the seat of power was actually right over here.
I think what really strikes people when they come is the design of the museum and what it really means. Because I'll show the people. Look at that. So what's up with the design?
So the design is actually pretty interesting because a lot of Chamorro, iconographic images are actually a part of the building. The second floor, you're looking at the plexiglass ceiling above. It actually is an ancient Chamorro weaving pattern, like the second floor railing right over here. Mm-hmm. And then when you're looking out right over here, so a lot of people kind of ask, who are the two chiefs that you're looking at in the front?
Right.
Now, they don't represent any particular chief. They function as guardians of the museum, not guardians of the galaxy, guardians of the museum. And then as you're looking at the front and back facades of the building, you actually have things like Chief Harao's, speech to mobilize 2,000.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering.
And you can look at that particular quote. To your left, you have the Whānau Chamorro, and in the back, you'll see that as well, two different quotes. But what you're looking at is, it looks like, from the front and back facades, like that of an open book. And the idea was, when you're walking into the museum, it's like you're opening up Guam's culture and history, and you're learning, like you would open a book.
Oh, okay, I see. So now it comes into play, and I kind of get it now. How the sides of it look like a book, and it's opening up. Now I understand. Wow.
Yeah, and in addition
so
to that,
a lot of things went into the construction of these. It's a lot of ideas and architecture went into the building. It is amazing.
Yes, sir.
And it is gorgeous, and it's nice. It's breezy. It is a hot day. It's probably like 90 degrees right now, but because of this breezeway on the top of the museum, you can just come up here, get your snack or your coffee or your drink from the cafe, the coffee shop downstairs, the gift shop, and just spend the day up here with your family, by yourself, with a significant other. Who knows?
So in the queuing room, you have an opportunity to see a small clip of, contemporary Guam with a lot of cultural traditions still being practiced. And if you're done with the clip, you can actually check out more artistic works.
And this is local artists.
Yes, sir. A lot of local artists. My favorite one actually is Mr. Dayva Sablon's. Really gives you a good idea of what you're going to see inside. Things like the Gumalati, Blackstone House.
And here's some music. This is like local chanting or local music that's playing.
Yes, sir. Yep. So you actually get a full-on experience before you actually enter the theater. So through this door, you have a theater that has a 180-degree curved screen.
Wow.
It's kind of like that of an IMAX. So, like an usher would do for a film, welcome to the Guam Museum. You're in the theater of the Guam Museum, about to showcase a film. What we lack in, popcorn, nachos, and drinks, basically food for your body. We actually make up for it with food for your mind inside.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm in a rainforest.
Yep.
Where are we at? I feel like I'm outside.
So as I was saying, the entire permanent gallery has 7 separate galleries.
7. Wow.
Yes, sir. First one was the queuing room into the theater. Second gallery right here is natural history part of Guam.
Wow.
Now check this one out.
Oh,
This
I didn't
is a
even see-
blue marlin, an actual blue marlin caught in 1969 by Mr. Gregorio Perez.
This is the world record holder, isn't it?
In 1969, yes it was. 1,153 pounds, 15 feet. Matter of fact, if you took this blue marlin and you put it from its fin facing upward, so it's basically standing up, it is roughly the same size as the House of Taga Tinian Ladystone.
Wow, that is pretty. That is a big fish. And the reason why I'm familiar with the fish is because when I would read the Guinness Book of World Records, because I'm fascinated with that stuff, when I would find like Guam things, and then we had 2 records in there. One of them was the typhoon, the flying to the eye of the typhoon. I think it was Typhoon Pamela, and then the marlin. Yes.
And then as you're walking through this gallery, there's a variety of different artifacts you can, look at. And check this one out. With these drawers, you can actually open it up and find a lot more hidden artifacts.
Wow, neat, man.
So when you're looking at Guam's culture and history, it's divided into different timelines, or at least 2. You have pre-Lati and Lati era. Pottery actually gives you a good representation of that, so you can see, time changing. And then you also have things like animals. The
yes.
kingfisher.
The kingfisher.
Yeah, there's actually 140 left in the world today.
Kingfishers.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
10 out of that 140 actually are on Guam.
10.
1 out of that 10 escaped captivity and is actually thriving in the wild, which
Wow.
is something you really want. At one point in time, there were 14 native species of birds. A lot of them became extinct due to basically loss of habitat. And what else? What's the second thing you think?
Climate change? No. What?
It's brown.
Oh, the brown tree snake.
Brown tree snake.
Well, let's clear some things up for some people, because you know what? A lot of travelers, they come to Guam, they're expecting to see Guam, the tree snake on the floor, on the roadways, but it's not true. You don't really see them. It's very rare. Sometimes, like for me, for example, on an annual basis, I'll maybe see 2 or 3 that got run over by a car on the road. So it's not like we're super infested, but yes, it's an invasive species.
Yes, sir.
So yes, if you see that, get rid of it, because you know what it's doing? It's killing all these beautiful birds. Like this one, this really famous one, which is the Guam rail.
And as you continue to progress through the second gallery, more of the natural environment is talked about, like the topography of Guam. Do you know what northern and southern Guam are made of?
I do not know.
So northern Guam is made of limestone, southern Guam is made of volcanic rock, and the reason why that's so important is when you're looking at northern Guam, there are no rivers or streams or waterfalls. But on southern Guam, there's plenty of rivers, streams, and waterfalls. And the main reason is, whenever it rains, the limestone is porous, so it goes right through the rock. But for southern Guam, whenever it rains, the volcanic rock, it's not porous. So whenever it rains, it functions as runoff. So that's actually kind of cool to learn.
That's right. And I always wonder why every time I go up to northern Guam, I always feel a little thirsty. Maybe that's why. Maybe they do this part.
So this past year in 2018 is actually when we opened it up, in May.
Okay.
And it is an ongoing process, but when we finally opened it up, like you said, many people were excited.
Yeah.
They really enjoyed the feel as they came into all these different galleries, like you were talking about. You hear like you're in the jungles.
Yeah.
You hear the different birds.
Yeah, and you can hear that. You can hear that behind. You can hear the birds. You can hear the chatter of the jungle, and so it gives you that experience that, I want to say a visceral experience, like you're actually in the jungle.
So we're finishing up Gallery 2, but we're now entering Gallery 3, the ancient Chamorro cultural aspect of the museum gallery.
Whoa!
Check that out.
Whoa! What?
Yeah.
Whoa! Look at this. There is a Chamorro house in here. There's a hut in here. There's the proa, the galaidi. Amazing, amazing! I'm blown away right now.
So when you come inside, you find again artifacts from the slingstone, Sanahi, all the way down to what you were talking about too, the Guma Higai, made out of pole and thatch. Then you also see the iconic Lati stone house, the Guma Lati, to your left. And you get to see different models of transportation on the water. So when you're thinking about Guam culture and history, the one you think, that kind of comes to mind is seafaring culture. And when you're coming right over here, it talks a little bit about navigation, basically how Pacific Islanders like the Chamorros, navigated on the open ocean, and they did so more accurately than Europeans did at the time. And then you have, different pieces of transportation. The top is the galaidi. I mean, think of it like the Lexus of ancient Chamorro society. Went from village to village because there were no roads back then.
Right.
You have the flying proa, which, fun fact, went up to 20 miles per hour. It's a little over 15 knots.
If you've ever been on the water, going anything above 10 knots is pretty fast. It goes by fast.
And then you also have the bottom model, which is known as the Sakmen, which is mainly utilized for the open ocean going, traveling.
So which one between all of them would you consider to be the sports car? Which is the
I would say
fastest?
the middle one.
Okay.
I would say the middle one, mainly because, again,
This is the one I would buy.
that's the one. It's like a Lamborghini.
Yeah, that's the Speedster, because I like sports cars.
And when you do come, press the blue button, but do that at your own risk.
Yeah. And we gotta keep some secrets, right?
There's the secrets that you're talking about, sir.
Yeah, there's the
You'll never know unless you come out. And there's also different selfie spots. So the Guma Higa, you can take a picture in front of that. We also can enter the Guma Lati underneath here. By the way, do you know at least 2 benefits of a Guma Lati?
No.
Oh man.
Oh wait, yeah, maybe I know 2, but one of it, number one, it's lifted off the ground. So for flooding and things like that, you're safe. Number 2, maybe insects, because it's lifted off the ground.
Yeah. Animals can't get to the 2nd floor. There's also ventilation. Guma Lati, if a family member passed away, they were buried underneath the Guma Lati itself.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's also a storage space, workspace area, shaded work area. And it's also a storytelling space.
carports.
So if you're wondering what this is a short little clip about first contact between Magellan, Europeans, and the Chamorros. So when you come on over, check this out. So, when you're looking at this gallery, this talks about the Spanish and U.S. naval eras for Guam history. So things like, again, the Ferdinand Magellan landing in 1521, down to Father Salvatore's in 1668, and then the colonization of Guam by the Spanish, all the way into 1898 when the U.S. Naval Administration takes over.
This is a gorgeous place right here.
And you also have a
Space.
variety of touchscreens. So when you touch these screens, you can learn more information. All of them have it. The same thing right over here. You just press next page, and you can learn a little bit more about this particular part of the gallery. And you also have access to drawers, more drawers that you can learn more about when you open up these drawers. You can see things like these wonderful Akaleha bead, artistic works. So when you walk here, pictures kind of light up. Hopefully there's no power outages though, because when this thing lights up, it's really dark in here.
Yeah, you're gonna get scared.
This is, yeah. And then you also have, like I said, more artifacts that you can learn more about. And
Oh wow, it's lighting up as I walk through.
there you go.
Wait a minute, I didn't know we were gonna eat today.
Well, again, this kind of reiterates Guam's culture and history as well, because again, the pig was not an indigenous animal that was brought over during the trade routes. And when you're looking at Guam history, especially when you get into the Spanish era, you notice a lot of things about Guam history as well. Things like many different cultures are coming in because of the trade route. So you get people from the Philippines, Mexico, various other places. And with that, Chamorros find a way to not only assimilate but also preserve their culture through all these different cultures coming in. You're getting into the U.S. Naval Administration from 1898 to 1941, and it segues right into World War II on Guam. So what you're hearing, it was supposed to give you a good idea, or at least a feeling of what it must have been like to be on Guam from basically December 10th, 1941, all the way until liberation on July 21st, 1944. And then you kind of also segue over here, and these two little monitors give you World War II footage of the battle for Guam, all the way from the bombardment to a lot of the ground fighting, with tanks and stuff like that. Once you're done exiting out of this gallery, you get into a little bit post-World War II. So these 3 panels give you at least a taste of what the Manamku, the elders of Guam, the World War II generation faced as they lived on Guam and experienced World War II. All 3 of them are heartbreaking stories in and of themselves, but I'll leave that to you.
Something you have to experience. I guess you stand in the booth, or how do people listen to it?
So you would stand right over here, right in between the speakers,
And it's activated.
you can hear it. Yes.
It's motion sensor activated.
But along with World War II, you get a lot of other interesting little fun facts. Like this is Sergeant Shoichi Yokoi's artifacts.
Okay, now
You
we're
know
talking.
who Yokoi is?
Right, Yokoi was a Japanese straggler who was found on Guam after the war, several decades after the war. So the war ended, and then they found him 1972?
1972, 28 years
Yeah.
he survived in the jungles of Guam. And this is how he did it. He was a tailor before World War II, so he made his own clothing out of hibiscus fiber. Made his own shrimp trap to catch shrimp. Rodent trap to catch rodents. He basically survived off the natural resources and the natural environment of Guam.
And by the way, I just want to point something out about this tailor. If you're wondering where Louis Vuitton got their style from, there it is right there. That looks like a Louis Vuitton jacket. So, Yokoi, LV.
There you go. And like you were talking about too, when he was caught in 1972, he did not believe the war was over. So it was a big surprise to him. However, that same year he went back to Japan, he's hailed as a hero, but he also got married. Can you guess where he went for his honeymoon?
Guam.
Came to Guam. This is some pictures of Mr. Yokoi with his wife here on Guam.
So did he show her the honeymoon suite where he stayed? Because I've seen it in Talafofo, and you gotta check that out at Talafofo Falls.
Another fun fact too, that is a replica of his cave.
Right.
Yeah,
that
it's
is
not
a-
his actual one.
It's not his actual one, but it's pretty small. So check that out. But anyways, so got married after staying in a cave for about 28 years. Decided to bring his wife back to show her the cave, and it showed out. I don't know. Who knows?
And then when I talked about post-World War II, a lot of what is being discussed now is basically what's happening on Guam from like the 1950s onward. So things like, H-2B worker program is started, after World War II. So you have Filipino workers coming to Guam to rebuild Guam from the ground up. A lot of the locals didn't have or participate in building Guam up. So places like Agana, like when you walk around, that was the H-2B worker program in effect. Mm-hmm. And it's still a pretty big thing to this day. A lot of the things that happened after World War II have a very, very big impact, and we still feel those impacts, again, to this day. This is the Wall of Names, 13,891. It's an incomplete list of all the Chamorros that suffered and suffered under the Japanese occupation for Guam. You can also find the same list on Asan Bay Overlook on Nimitz Hill. And when you're looking at this number, like I said, it's an incomplete list. There is thousands more that are probably not registered.
And look at the enormity of this. I mean, this is a very sombering wall, kind of depicting what happens during wartime. So hopefully we can go beyond war in the future.
Oh yeah, learning from it. I mean, that's the whole point of why we're here too. What went wrong? How can we make it better?
Right.
And then as you're walking down here, you get a feel of what it was like, the transition from World War II into the 1950s with the Guam Organic Act being signed. Chamorros then become U.S. citizens, but Guam is an unincorporated territory. I mean, and then you get to learn more about what that even means. What does an unincorporated territory mean?
Well, since you're so dubious with the fun facts, I have a fun fact. My dad, who was born in 1933, wasn't a U.S. citizen.
Really?
Right.
Wow.
Because he was born on Guam, so he wasn't a U.S. citizen until they signed the Organic Act. Am I right?
Oh, you're right. Yes, U.S. citizenship was
not
only
imparted?
during the Guam Organic Act.
Now, the reason why I know this is because my dad had a card that he received when he became a U.S. citizen. It was a metal card, and I know that some older people might still have this little tin card. Hopefully I can find it, and I'll post a picture. Hopefully, I'll try my best to find it.
Entering the bottom floor of the gallery number 7. And with gallery number 7, you get more of the contemporary aspect for Guam history. So everything from like the 1960s all the way up till current times. And as you walk down, you might notice a lot of other electronics. Same thing as the second floor, from the Slingstone streams all the way down to what's happening in the world, to what's happening here on Guam. Fun fact, did you know that Guam, like Asan Beach, was multiple things in Guam's culture and history? It was a World War II battle site, World War II medical center for said battle site. It was also a rice paddy field during World War II. And it was also a Vietnamese refugee camp. There's a little blurb right over here that talks about the Vietnam War and how the Vietnamese refugees came to Guam. There are various parts on Guam like the Roti, Santa Rita, Pidi, but Asan was also utilized. So when you're on Asan Beach and you're in that big grassy field in the National Park Service's park, just realize there's a lot of history that is on that one spot. And that's just one of many sites you can go to here on Guam. One of which is the Guam Museum. But the back part of the museum, you have the plaza all the way up until where you get to the street to go to Chamorro Village. Wednesday night markets are a great place to go to, especially when you come to the museum. After you're done enjoying all that is the Guam Museum, you can go right across the street to Chamorro Village to enjoy more with, you know, the Wednesday night markets. To your left, you also have the garden here. So let's say you wanted to kind of like chill out for a little bit, eat a little sandwich, or just enjoy some, you know, plants, you know, scenery from Guam. And again, there's very, you know, few places that you can get that. But when you come to the museum, you come left, you find a lot of beautiful, you know, plant life thriving. And you still get that beautiful feel of, like, you know, again, you're in a garden.
Wow. Beautiful. John, I mean, this is a beautiful place. Let's say I'm coming in from Korea or Taiwan and I want to get married. Can I get married here? Can the museum host?
Well, yeah, we have hosted, you know, wedding receptions. I mean, there's a capacity for it. But like an example, we've had a wedding reception, you know, up here. We've had a wedding that took place, a small one in the courtyard where we came from, where the garden was. But I would say call ahead. We have an events manager that, you know, you can talk to, and, you know, you guys can have that conversation and determine whether or not you want to have an event here. But it is possible.
So it is possible. They have an events manager. So call if you want to have an event and inquire.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it is a great day. And I noticed one thing that I noticed in particular when I came here is just the staff and how friendly you guys are, and how everybody was accommodating and receptive to a lot of the requests I had to come here and feature the Guam Museum for everyone, not just the locals but people traveling, the tourists. So what would you like to impart to people who are watching about the Guam Museum? Your last words.
Well, the one thing I would really say is when you walk into the museum, everyone that you meet, from the staff, from the admissions, cafe, retail, everybody, the docents, you have that anaphemalic feel, but you also have everyone being extremely knowledgeable about Guam's culture and history, willing to help in any way, shape, or form to answer your questions, whatever they may be. But when you also walk into the museum, besides the amazing people that you talk to, you get the enormity and, you know, just a glimpse of the enormity and the importance of Guam's culture and history, not only through the galleries, but just walking into the building itself. Like I said, the building does have a lot of the imagery for Guam's, you know, culture and history that, you know, you don't really get in a lot of museums worldwide.
Yes. You know, I've been to a lot of museums around the world, and you know what, for me personally, this is right up there with this space, what they're able to include in here, all the technology, and then also the things that they have included from the past. You guys are really doing a great job. It is a really beautiful museum. I want to come here again. I want to come here 10 times, 20 times, and take a look at what's happening. And what I also like is when you guys change the exhibits, like in the changing gallery, for example, and things like that, when you feature the local artists, and sometimes you feature also artists from off island as well, right? And I've been to some of the events here, and it seems like this is a real professional team whose primary focus is to showcase Guam's history, the past, the present, and where we're headed towards the future. You know, and it's an incredible space. You need to check this out. You need to come by and check out the museum.
Yep. It is one of the best places I've ever been to, and it's one of the best places I'm sure you're going to have a great time at. So come on down.
Adios.
Adios.